Have you ever wondered what really makes Johnny Depp so unforgettable? You know, that quiet rebel energy he carries, the way he seems to disappear into his characters yet still leaves his own mark? There's something about him that feels mysterious. Like, you think you know him, but at the same time, you don't. Well, what if I told you that a lot of that magic might just come from something written in the stars? That's right. Johnny Depp's zodiac sign actually reveals a lot about who he is, his charm, his struggles, his relationships, even the way he's managed to stay Hollywood's ultimate outsider while being one of its brightest stars. And you're going to find out all of it in this video. So let me ask you something. Have you ever looked up your zodiac sign and thought, wow, this actually explains so much about me? If so, you're definitely not alone. And by the end of this, you might just feel the same about Johnny. Stick around, because in the next few minutes we're breaking it all down. And I promise, there are some traits here that might surprise you. Especially one specific trait that may have made him the icon he is today. Alright. Let's talk about Johnny. Johnny Depp was born on June 9th. And that makes him a Gemini. Now, if you're into astrology at all, you already know Geminis are something else. They're often called the sign of the twins. Why twins? Because Geminis are full of duality. They can seem like two people at once. One minute they're outgoing, funny, and full of stories. The next minute, they're quiet, mysterious, almost withdrawn. Does that already sound like Johnny? Yeah. Thought so. But here's the thing. That duality isn't just confusing. It's actually a gift. See, Geminis are adaptable. They're like chameleons. They can slip into any role, take on any persona, and make it feel real. And isn't that exactly what Johnny does on screen? One day he's Captain Jack Sparrow, wild and unpredictable. Another day he's a troubled writer, dark and brooding. Another day he's an eccentric chocolatier who hardly speaks at all. Yet somehow, it all feels like Johnny. That ability to transform without ever fully disappearing, that's Gemini energy to a T. But there's more. Geminis are ruled by Mercury, the planet of communication and intellect. That means they're quick thinkers. Creative. Curious. Restless. Always looking for something new to learn, something new to create. That explains why Johnny isn't just an actor. He's also a musician. A painter. A writer. He's always got his hands in something artistic. Because Geminis, they just can't sit still. Now, here's where it gets interesting. People often say Geminis are two-faced. That's one of the biggest myths about them. The truth? Geminis just have so many sides to their personality, it can confuse people who expect them to stay the same all the time. And isn't that Johnny? Always keeping people guessing. Never letting Hollywood, or anyone else, put him in a box. Now let's talk love. Because Johnny's relationships have always been a big part of his story. Geminis in love are complicated. They're romantic. They're charming. They keep things exciting. But they also need space. They crave connection, but at the same time, they don't like to feel trapped. Sound familiar? That constant push and pull. The desire to love deeply while still keeping your own identity. It's not easy. But that's the Gemini way. And if you zoom in a little closer, people born specifically on June 9th are said to have a natural rebellious streak. They question authority. They don't follow the rules just because they're rules. They carve their own path. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised that Johnny has always been a bit of a misfit in Hollywood. Choosing strange, risky roles. Dressing however he wants. Saying what he feels. That quiet defiance is written in the stars. And you know what? There's a lesson in that. If you're a Gemini yourself, or even if you just feel like one at heart, embrace your complexity. Don't let anyone tell you you're too much or too hard to figure out. That duality? That curiosity? That's not a flaw. That's your superpower. And if you love a Gemini, just know, they're full of surprises. And they wouldn't have it any other way. Now, here are a few pro-level Gemini traits you probably didn't know about. These are little secrets that explain even more about Johnny, and maybe about yourself, too. First, Geminis are secretly great learners. Even if they don't make a big deal about it, they're always soaking up information. Watching. Listening. Remembering little details. Johnny has often shared random childhood stories in interviews. Or memories of obscure guitar riffs he learned when he was 12. That's classic Gemini. Next, Geminis have an incredible memory for people. For the little things. That's why they can be so good at connecting with others. And finally, beneath all that charm and wit, Geminis can be their own harshest critics. Even Johnny has hinted at this in interviews, talking about his self-doubt, his insecurities, despite all his success. Because here's the thing about Geminis, they seem light-hearted, but they feel deeply. So now you know. That's the secret behind Johnny Depp's Zodiac sign. The adaptability. The creativity. The contradictions. The rebel streak. All of it, written in the stars. But now it's your turn. What about you? What's your zodiac sign? And what's one trait about yourself that you think defines you the most? I'd love to hear your story. Drop it in the comments below, I'll be reading them. And if you want to dive even deeper into zodiac secrets of other celebrities, don't go anywhere, there's another video on your screen right now that you don't want to miss. Oh. And if you enjoyed this little journey into Johnny's stars, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might find it just as fascinating. Thanks for spending this time with me. And remember, no matter what your sign is, you are more than just one thing. And that's what makes you unforgettable. See you in the next one.